Thompson. I am Candice Thompson, and we are struggling.
Did you just say your name 4 times in the intro?
I am Candice Thompson, and it is Candice Thompson's struggle.
She's Candice Thompsoning.
If you didn't get that, my name is Candice Thompson.
Candice spelled like Candice, and Thompson just like Thompson.
Thank you for coming back and listening to The Struggle, the podcast where we discuss everyone's adult struggles that we all have. We all have them, so let's not. So why not laugh at them? So let's get into this. I'm going to introduce my co-host, Mal Hall.
Hey, everybody.
You guys know him, right?
Yeah.
I expected the audience to be like, yeah.
There's no one
There's
here.
no one here. Call in if
I wanted to applaud.
Call in if you...
Call in. This is not a telethon.
Donate money. And then we have a very special guest. I'm very excited to have this woman on with us today because Joyelle is my comedy day one.
Day one.
I've got special straight from Seth Meyers, Late Night with Seth Meyers. She just did a late night set on there and she killed Joyelle Johnson, New York comedian. Yay! Welcome to The Struggle. Really quickly, I want to plug everyone's social media. And if you have anything that you want people to come to, this podcast is going to air on, I forget, Paul. Do we know this information?
3 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today. I would like to get the 24th of April. So if you have anything that date, like around that, if you want to plug. If not, just give your social medias or websites or anything you want.
Is that going to be edited out?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
No.
No, keep that in, please. Okay, so you can find me at Jokes by Candice on Twitter and Instagram and CandiceThompsonComedy.com if you want my dates for shows and touring. Mal, where can everyone find you?
Malhall.com. I'll be at Brea Improv this weekend. Also, Malhall TV on YouTube. Please subscribe.
JoyelleNicole.com. And at Joyelle Nicole on all social media.
Yes, Joyelle. Joyelle is my comedy day one. We started, because Joyelle used to live in LA. Now you live in New York.
I do.
And when you were out here, we met each other at the Laugh Factory in a sketch group called the Comedy Playground.
I forgot the name of the sketch group. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
I was like, it's a sketch group on Wednesdays with black people.
Black people doing comedy, that's what it was called. So we weren't even really doing stand-up when we started that. We were just in the sketch group. And then we're just like, oh, okay, let's try doing stand-up together. And we were in this group and people will be like, what? But we were in this group with Kevin Hart. Remember that?
Kevin Hart was the lead.
This was right before he started blowing up. Like
Post Soul Plane, but
pre-Jumanji.
Everything else.
Right.
Pre-40-year-old virgin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was right before that.
Because that was like, what, 2004?
Yeah, but that's like when he took off.
Right, when he was about to. Right. So
domestically, right? Like mainstream. That was like a very big scene for him.
Yeah.
Well, he was still doing clubs at this point.
Yeah.
Right. Now he's doing stadiums.
Stadiums.
Yeah.
And planetariums.
Yeah. So we're Chris Spencer was there too, wasn't he in that group?
Chris Spencer, Rodney Perry,
David Arnold,
Tiffany Haddish
was in that with us. Like,
shout out. And the thing about Tiffany was when it was a sketch and stand-up group. Am I supposed to be looking at this camera?
You can, yeah, it's filming.
Sketch and stand-up. And every week they'd be like, who wants to do stand-up? And she'd always raise her hand immediately. And I'd be like,
no.
Oh, I wish I did stand-up. Like, I didn't do stand-up at that point.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, she's so brave.
Yeah. Look at her. Look how brave she is. Look at her. She loves it.
Yeah.
Look at her enjoying the chicken.
Yeah. And so the concept of this show was that what was fun about this show was that it was sketch, but in a different light. Like we would pitch we wouldn't rehearse. We just would show up at the Laugh Factory.
Very black.
Very black. We tried to make it look like it was nuanced sketch.
Right. Yeah.
It was really just us being lazy and
it's a jazz sketch group. We sort of play it by ear.
Improv. It was kind of it was improv sketch is really what it was. So we would show up at this at the Laugh Factory, and then we would pitch all the sketch ideas Wednesday nights, and we would pitch our ideas to Pookie, who still runs Chocolate Sundays at the Laugh Factory. He was in charge of what sketches got on the stage and which ones were tossed. We would pitch, and if he thought it had legs, we would then perform it right after it live on the stage of the Laugh Factory.
Yeah, and that's when I learned I'm not confident enough to pitch sketches.
Well, tell me what you told me last night.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember this at all.
One of my favorite memories, I got my courage up to pitch a sketch. I don't even know what the sketch was about, but I go to pitch it, like everyone's looking at me, and I started losing confidence as I was talking. And then everyone just kind of slowly walks away. And then Candice goes, is this sketch dead? Because I have an idea. And that's when I realized she's evil and we need to be friends.
And we've been friends ever since. This is dead, right? Okay, so can I?
Obviously.
Are you finished? Or are you through?
Yeah, because I've got some brilliant ideas.
I might have still been talking. The slow walk away, though, was everyone just kind
Isn't it just amazing how the things that make such an impact on one person and another person has no clue how it affected the other person? Like, I don't remember that at all, but clearly, like, yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And sounds exactly like something I would do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
shut up, Mal. You corny.
Okay. Okay.
I was talking before we started recording that we need to get a corn like buzzer or something for every time Mel is corny.
I'm sure there's plenty of black dudes that'll invest their money together to make that happen.
Somebody start a Kickstarter?
Somebody make a corn buzzer. Whatever the sound you think the corn buzzer should be, send it in. Record it on your iPhone. We don't care.
Send us a corny jingle.
Yeah.
Please call in and let us know any.
It's not a radio station.
Corny jingles.
Candice, what happened?
Please call it.
Okay, so let's get into what Joyelle's struggle is, because we actually shared a struggle last night. And if you have any, I know what this one is, but if you have any other struggles, we're going to let this one play out. We'll riff on it. And then if it,
if it dies,
we'll go into
we'll have other ideas.
If you walk away, I'll have an idea. I'll step right in with another. So last night, and I'm not going to say names.
Of course not. I don't.
Even though it
remember
wouldn't
the
matter.
Name, so
it wouldn't matter.
Brent Jones.
Yeah. It's called Cornball Jones. God damn it. This dude's
My cousin.
So, really, so stupid, Mal. So, really, before we say this, I would like to say, okay, so yes, okay, I do.
Did you just have a stroke?
I did. So, I have been struggling with what we're about to talk about, but I mean, obviously, we've been struggling with this because we're women. So, but something did just happen to me a couple of days ago that ties into this. So I'll open with this and I'll say, so being a woman is an ongoing issue. Like, we struggle with the way that we get treated by men a lot. And so something just recently happened to me. I was doing a show with a male comic at the Long Beach Laugh Factory. And he saw some of my set and then came up to me. And this is someone I know. This is not someone who I just met. This is someone don't know him well, but well enough that he shouldn't have said what he said to me. And then so I did my set and I had a great set and I got off stage and he comes up to me and he goes, "Oh, now I see why you're getting a lot of spots around town." And I was like, "Okay." And he goes, I say to him, I was like, "Well," I was like, "I'm funny." I said, "That's." I'm just funny. I mean, I don't understand. Did you doubt that? And he was like, "Well, yeah, kinda."
Wow.
Why?
He said this to my face.
Bold.
Why are you talking to me?
That was bold.
And I'm like, of course I'm thinking, there's no way in hell he would have said this to a man.
No.
There's no way in hell he would have said that to a man. And he's probably thinking, what most people think about female comics is that most of us are not funny. And I honestly don't know. I think he's probably seen my set at maybe 1 or 2 times, at least over the past 5 or 6 years or so. And granted, we do get funnier the longer we're in it. So I don't know what of my sets he had seen previously. I have no idea. But at the same time, have a filter. You don't say that. You're saying that on purpose to now neg me, to make me feel bad about myself, because you feel bad about yourself and you need to feel better about yourself by making me feel bad about myself.
Did you watch his set?
No, I left immediately.
I can see why you're not getting spots around town.
Well, now what's messed up is that this comic is, I don't want to say he's successful by the definition of he makes decent money on the road. He's not on television. So like, for comics, we all want to be on TV. So it's like, but he's
I don't
not.
watch TV.
Put a pin in that because there's
I
a
don't
meaning.
own a TV.
There's meaning behind that. But Mal, I was at your apartment. You have a huge TV.
That was a
You
monitor.
replaced it with a bird cage. Shout out to Mateo.
That's some old shit, Candice.
Nobody watches TV anymore. So like this comic is, again, if you define success as you're able to support your family, you make decent money, but you have to be on the road a lot. So, and a lot of comics do want that. They would love to be doing stand-up all the time on the road, and that's fine. But this particular comic does not. He wants more. And, a lot of comics do want more. So, but for him to then still he's been in the game for a long time. And for him to then come at me, who's a younger comic, who's done nothing, I've never done anything out of malice towards him. That was just completely an unwarranted attack on me. But, being a woman, that's what we have to deal with on a regular basis, which then ties into what we're going to discuss today about struggling with just how men treat us. And this happened last night. This happened last night where Joyelle and I got into an argument with a man. I was going to say a comic, but he's not. He claims he's a comic, but I don't think he is.
Ooh. Yeah. How do we start? I don't know how we start. First of all, he wanted to fuck one of us. It was.
I think he wanted to fuck both of us.
It was one of those energies where you're just like, you don't care who says yes.
Yeah.
You're not gonna direct your.
You guys met this dude after a show?
We
Yes.
met. Okay, so let me preface.
I was
that.
not there.
No, Mal, you were not there. You were not there. I did a show downtown. And this guy came with another one of the comics that was on the lineup with me.
Yeah.
And I did notice him at the bar. And I did have when I first saw him, I did think like, okay, this dude is corny.
Cool.
Like immediately, but not the way Mal is corny. Like I would never look at you and be like, you're corny.
Until I open my mouth.
Yes.
Wow.
This guy I could look at and be like, oh, he's corny. And then we went and met up with Joyelle after one of her shows in Echo Park. So
this dude's corny. Let's hang out with him.
Well, we didn't.
She came separate.
I came separate. Okay, so Joyelle is friends with the guy that the guy came with at my show.
Yeah.
And so, yes. So then Joyelle's friend goes to meet up with Joyelle. I also go to meet up with Joyelle. But then, of course, this guy is also with the friend.
Klinger.
Yes. So we have to hang out with him because he's just there.
Okay.
That's how we met.
I mean, honestly, I liked him initially. Like we were getting along. I was like, I might even consider making out with you.
Yeah.
I had that thought.
He's not a bad looking guy.
He's cute. And he was like laughing at my jokes a lot. And I was like, okay, this feels good, I guess. And then
The sigh.
and then we went out to eat.
Yeah. You got to say the walk up. We walked. Okay, so we were trying to figure out where we were going to eat. It's super late at night. It's like, 12 o'clock so far, or maybe going on 1 o'clock, trying to figure out where to go. So we were walking up and down the street, seeing if there was anything open, to which then at that point, that's when he tells us, we were just having casual conversation.
He was like, yeah, I got a lot of girlfriends. I got girlfriends in a whole bunch of different cities and different zip codes and stuff.
He said international. He has an international girlfriend.
Some Quincy Jones shit. So he got hoes in different area codes.
And just felt the need to tell us that.
No one asked about his hoes. We didn't know.
Excuse me, sir. What's your hoe situation?
Like nobody. This is completely unprovoked. And and we just kind of.
Hey, bro, if you had the ballpark, the number of hoes and their locations.
Let me pull out my hoe counter.
Pins in a map.
I have a hoe counter app.
It's a
Hold on.
Google map called hoes.
In different areas.
And the Ludacris song just starts playing as soon as you open it. So ridiculous.
So that initially turned Candice. No, that didn't initially turn Candice off. She was already turned off.
Yes. I have been turned off
It
since.
made me laugh because I was like, oh, you might have a tiny penis.
Yeah.
So
because that's the only reason that a man offers that information. Just the same way as like a guy talks about all the sex he's having. You're not. If you talk about how big your penis is, it's not.
It's not. Or you talk about all the comedy you do.
You don't.
You don't. I don't have time to talk about it. I'm exhausted. So that happens. We get food. We have our entire meal. We're having joking, laughing. Gets to the end. He paid for it like a gentleman. Good thing he did, because that's when the argument started.
Yes.
And how did it start?
It started with, because we were talking. So the restaurant we were, again, it's super late night. At this point, it was like 1 something in the morning by the time we got to the restaurant.
Okay.
And there was a row of tent city of homeless people just
right across the street
from this pizza place. It looked like a very suspect part of town.
Completely suspect. When people can just set up tents.
Yeah, so many tents.
I can't even park my car for 24 hours in Los Angeles. You got a tent city?
Yeah.
So
there was at least 10 tents lined up.
And obviously, a nigga that live in a tent in LA might be a little gangster.
Right.
I'm not trusting him.
Right.
Yeah. And we noticed it immediately. We get out the car and we're like, girl, hurry up.
Because we're women, we have to be aware of things like that. And so I made the comment of us walking in. We were like, yeah, it's a little shady out there. It's a little scary. And then you said,
I was like, it's terrifying.
It's terrifying. And then he said.
So yeah, we tell him this at the table after he already paid for the meal. And he says, he then goes on to disbelieve what we're saying. He was like, that's ridiculous. What are you talking about?
Why would you be scared? There was no reason for you to be scared.
He didn't notice the camp of homeless people right outside.
He did, but why would we be scared about that? Why would we even mention it? So he was like, "You're wrong."
Yeah, he said
that was his reply. You're wrong.
He said you're ridiculous.
He was like, "You're being ridiculous in your opinion."
And I don't understand. Yes, basically is what he said. And then you said,
I blacked out in a rage.
She said, yeah, Joyelle then goes. She did. She goes.
Especially when somebody just tells me what you just said was wrong, and it's an opinion. I'm like,
or an experience.
Tell me my experience or my opinion is wrong.
Right. This is what I felt at the time. So then she goes on to say,
I was like, well, that's speaking from a place of male privilege.
And to which he goes, no,
you're wrong. That's not male privilege. I was like, no, literally, you not being threatened physically with your body is because you are a man. He would not. And from then, he just went on a tangent that I don't even know how to explain, because he was gaslighting me. He started gaslighting me. And I told him what gaslighting was, and he was like, well, your definition of gaslighting and my definition of gaslighting are two different things. And we were like, that's not how words work.
There's only one definition.
There's only one definition of gaslighting. He's like, no, gaslighting is when I punch you in the face and then I tell you I didn't do it. You.
What?
No, that's not gaslighting. That's what did you say? That's domestic violence.
That's assault, sir.
What are you talking? And why are you going to such great lengths to try to say I'm wrong?
Yeah.
Right.
When I'm not wrong. So it was like he was realizing I wasn't wrong, and he just kept trying to explain himself.
How much was the pizza? How much was it?
It wasn't cheap.
It wasn't cheap. They were probably like at least $16 per pizza. Plus we had an appetizer, and then you got a ginger beer at the end.
I did get a ginger beer.
Yeah. And she was like, I made sure he pays for it. It was so funny. Put that on the check before he pays. Yeah. But he was being, and here's the thing is that he was like, he was just, you could tell from jump he was just defensive, because he took whatever Joyelle said as personally. And it's like, we're not saying, here's the thing. You can't deny that there's no such thing as male privilege. You just can't do that. It's the same thing as white privilege. It exists.
And that's what we tried to explain.
It's not the exact same
what
thing.
You were doing. What'd you say?
It's not the exact same.
No, not the exact.
It's similar.
It's not the exact same thing, but it's very similar.
You don't believe another person's experience.
Right.
Because you can't empathize.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's similar in that respect. And I told him, I was like, you're doing to me what white people do to black people. And that's when he was just like, how dare you? Like, you would have thought I called him a KKK grand wizard. Like, he was just so offended.
Yeah.
And I was like, see, you're being defensive now. And I didn't know why. And he just kept trying to convince me I was crazy.
Yeah, he kept saying,
he said I was
crazy.
Consumed.
He's like, I'm not going to, you just sound like you're consumed with all this political stuff, and I don't let that politics stuff get to me like this. But I'm like, but you're a black man.
Short guy?
No, he wasn't short. He wasn't tall, but he wasn't short. He was maybe like 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah.
Ooh, that's short.
You are you're tall, much taller than I thought you'd be. Now. I don't know
Candice,
why.
you describe me as a short guy?
I've seen pictures of you next to her. I don't know why I didn't think you'd be taller than me. For the audience out there.
She's looking at you differently like, ooh, Mal. Okay. Okay, little Mally Mal.
Okay, he's still standing up. Okay.
Got that long ass Asian torso.
His legs are 1 foot long. His torso is 5'9".
That's my favorite Ian joke of all time.
I forgot about.
And they stand up and they're the same height.
Shout out to Ian Edwards for his
That was a
Asian
good inflection in the voice.
Asian joke game being on point.
Yes. So yeah, he was basically saying, I'm not consumed by it. And then I was saying, you're telling me I'm consumed. I'm not saying that. And she's like, okay, so if you say you're not consumed in an argument, that means you're saying the other person is consumed. He wouldn't even accept that.
He wouldn't even accept that
He wouldn't
point.
accept any
He was just
point.
arguing.
He just wanted to argue.
He was wanting to
How
argue.
long did this last?
Oh, God.
Oh, God, 40 minutes at least.
I would also like to point out they were screaming at each other in a restaurant. We were in a pizza spot.
No one else was there.
It's like, yeah, it looked like we rented out the place. It did look like, it's a really
Mafia
cute
style.
place. It's a really cute
Was the
place
staff
called the Sit
just in
Down.
the window looking at you guys?
Oh, one girl got
Oh,
involved.
no, one of the chicks, she was like, I wasn't going to say anything, but she was
Say
like,
that.
I carry mace, I carry a taser, blah, blah, blah. Because, and again, it's fine if you don't if that's not where your head goes because you never experienced it, at least just be open to listening to what a
Yes.
woman has to go through.
That's all.
Don't be arguing with us about something that we've had done to us
for no reason.
on repeated occasions.
I'm a man and I'm 6'1" and a half, 6'2" depending on the shoes I'm wearing, and I get scared when
6'2" today.
And I get I'm very hyper aware of you. Like you should be aware of your surroundings.
You
If there's
totally
homeless
should.
people there, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You should recognize, okay, that looks sketchy to me.
That looks
Of
sketchy.
course.
Take a note and then
Exactly.
go. Oh,
Of
but
course.
pizza sounds good.
So the fact
but
that he couldn't even
sketchy,
admit
that's
that.
crazy.
He couldn't admit any level of
He just
something.
wanted to argue. As soon as he heard male privilege, he was like, no.
No.
Then he said, you watch too much TV.
Oh, and to that, and he was like, you watch too much TV. I was like, what does TV have to do with it? And then he proceeds to say, well, I don't watch TV.
Mind
He
you,
writes
writes on
for
a television show.
Wow.
You don't watch TV? Shut the fuck up.
Meanwhile, I would also like to say that earlier on the night, he told us about a television show that we needed to watch because it was really good.
What are you talking about? So this is the example. So you don't care about any of the words that come out of your
Right.
mouth.
No.
I don't watch TV.
I've deduced it. I think he's a pathological liar.
Yeah.
Because like when we don't know because we've never, but I've dealt with people who are pathological liars. And you can tell because they just say one thing and then they just talk in circles and they contradict whatever they said. But numerous times, and they say so many things at the same time that you can't follow what they're saying. And that's
Right.
exactly what this dude was doing.
And he kept trying to be like, because I would try to say, okay, what you just said didn't make sense, and he'd try to connect it to something else, and I'm like, nigga, I'm high. Like I can't follow your logic right now. And so he would take me being high, not being able to follow his logic, meaning, oh, you can't prove the point. You're not
have no
making any
point.
sense.
Right.
You have no
don't
points.
have a point. So it's like I'm arguing with a child. Like none of this is making any sense right now. And then he proceeds to let me know that this is why I'm single.
Yeah,
and I
he
was
did
like,
say that.
If you are someone I would have to deal with, nigga, I'll be single. I got a show at a sex shop tonight. I'm gonna get a vibrator. Like, what are we talking about? I would rather deal with my fucking index finger.
You just answered my next question, which was like, why would you stick around for the entire 40 minutes at this conversation? Oh, you were high.
Yeah, she was high.
I also enjoy because I do
enjoys
women's rights and
confrontation.
I talk to like antis in front of abortion clinics. I love talking to stupid people. So I just kind of like to see where their brain's gonna go, like what they're gonna say next.
Right,
you know?
right,
Yeah.
right.
And he was one of those people where it was like, wow.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, what
do
else can
have
you
to
say? Yeah, yeah.
And then he kind of kept looking to Candice to be his ally because she was speaking in an indoor voice.
Yeah.
I
They were
wasn't-
yelling at one another, and I was like, what she's trying to say is...
what my client is saying.
Yes, I was like, translate, because we had a divorce. We had an entire relationship within hours.
Yeah.
Like it was just an initial attraction.
And
we
then-
were flirting. Then we ate.
wanted to stab each other in
and
the
then
neck.
and then we hated each other. And now I never care if I ever see him ever
There's a
again in my
mutual
life.
hate between the two of them now.
All black people at this table?
Oh God, yes. And
Of
that's another thing
course.
was where I was trying to
Of
explain to
course.
him. I was like, look, there's a thing. Black men want black women to be black. White women want black women to be women.
Yep.
Neither group cares that we are both. And when I was trying to explain that to him, he's like, once again, you're wrong. And I was like, you can't tell me about my experience.
Yeah.
You're not a black woman.
Right.
And this is an example of the disrespect that we get from everyone. The fact that you won't even listen to what I'm saying when I just said I didn't feel safe walking past a homeless tent city.
Yeah.
Something that simple.
City. Right. You couldn't just be like, I'm sorry. Just listen. You don't have to apologize. But even if you did, I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Or
just listen.
Even.
Exactly. Just listen. You don't have to say anything.
Just a statement. We weren't like, okay, our next topic of discussion is going to be the homeless tent city.
Yeah, no.
We were just making a throwaway comment and then it turned into this big thing because I was like, you're not going to invalidate what the fuck I just said.
Right.
And try to make me feel like I'm some crazy bitch who's just arguing with you.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. When he's
also, I got time right now.
Right. I ain't got to be nowhere. Right. It's 4:00 in the morning. Where we going to go?
Where we go?
So he started to like kind of understand after we said to him, you know how when black men complain about being shot by the cops and white people still say there's no such thing as racism, all lives matter.
All lives matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same. It's the same thing, how you're not believing. Like I said, the Bill Cosby thing. I said, I know so many men, especially black men, who still think that Bill Cosby is innocent.
Yes.
I heard a black man, a black comic, and I told you this, you know him. We were in the green room and the main room at the Comedy Store, and he goes, talking about Bill Cosby's accusers, if one of them women is lying, all of them is lying.
Wow.
And I just looked at him and I said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, and then like men make statements like that and then want us to argue, and it's like, that's not even a proper thesis. It's not well thought out. What are we doing? I can't argue with that. That's a ridiculous statement. So I'm not going to argue logic with an illogical statement.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Yeah, that's what crazy is. That's the definition of crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah. He then also went on to argue. So after we did say that we made the analogy of what it's like for black men and women, he was like, okay, I understand that now. I was like, but also like, why do we have to explain this still?
Why? Why do we have to have an hour-long yelling match before you were like, oh,
okay.
That's what's up.
Then he also then went, that's what's up.
Right. Cool.
He also went on to say that his body is threatened regularly. Remember when he said that?
Yeah.
He was like, my body has been threatened. And we were like, when? And then we kept saying, when? Where were you?
I was walking through the homeless tent city.
Side note, these tents were really nice, some of them. And I was like, I know tents are expensive.
Whoa, is that a Coleman?
Is this an experiment?
I was walking through West Hollywood's gay tent section where I felt like extremely threatened.
Hold on, is this a glamping
They were looking
site?
at me. They were looking at my butt. Like I just couldn't explain it, but I felt not safe.
I was like, when did you feel? I was like, were you in prison? Like, when did your body? And he couldn't give an example.
Because he's just making stuff up so that to defend his point, which didn't exist.
And he was also trying to make me feel like I wasn't intelligent. I was like, that's one thing you're never going to do, nigga. Right. You are never going to make me feel
but
like I'm
at one point,
smart.
because I think he was still trying to fuck, he did say...
Which is adorable.
Which he did say, I think your mind is amazing.
Oh, yeah. He's like, your mind is beautiful. You are amazing. I know that.
After he called her crazy.
After he called me crazy. Like, after all this stuff, but you know, you're beautiful. And I was like, you are literally, we just had an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
You gaslit. You fucking, now you're complimenting to try to get me back. No. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Because we'd fight. Nigga, we'd fight every day.
So then he did text me today.
Hilarious.
What's up with your girl?
That would have been amazing. I would have. No, he
Candice
just
is his ally.
Yeah, I'm by no means his ally. He just said he had a good time last night and thanks for letting him hang with us.
Hey, give my number to your girl though.
What's up with your girl? She gonna let me, you know?
I'm trying to smash. I'm going to New York next week.
Right.
I'm just gonna pack this tent up real quick. If I can move enough cans, I'll make it out to New York.
I hate it so much. And then we were that's hilarious. And then we had like a half an hour just anger recap in the car afterwards.
Oh yeah, we
just sat.
Because a part of it felt surreal. A part of it felt, did that just happen?
Yeah. it was so confusing and that is one of my struggles going on dates is that I'm not gonna let you just say words.
You have to tell everyone about the Trump guy.
Yes. Okay. So I was on a date and he brought this up because he was saying, obviously you're single because you don't know how to talk to men. And I was like, okay, sure.
Dude, who are these? I like a lot of times when girls will like say these things that guys say, I'm like, why? Like, how do you even come up with like, oh, this is a good idea. I'm gonna say this.
They don't. I don't know. Can you explain?
That's so
I'm looking at the men in the
that's
room.
crazy.
We're confused as well.
Like you just heard us say, you've heard the story about the comic, and then now they're both things. They're like, I would never say that to somebody.
Never say it. So I was on a date with this black dude, like right before the primary election in 2016, and we were talking, chilling. We were having an all right time. I wasn't going to fuck him, but I was like, we could
but he didn't know that.
Right. Y'all, we know instantly.
That power that you guys have.
We know instantly. We do know very.
He doesn't know, but this is going to be a fun night.
Yeah. Right. Until you say something dumb.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all. As long as you don't say
inevitably happens.
Yes.
Strike one,
Chris
nigga.
Rock. Oh, yeah. Right? Just straight up.
Keep it a mental.
That's the internal. That is literally my internal voice. Is that deep? Is that yes? Strike one, nigga.
Yes.
So this nigga had all the strikes.
That is literally what happened.
It's a full count, nigga. You better be careful.
And I'm the type of bitch, I get it out of you. Like, I get it. He was like, you talk about politics on a first date? Yes, I talk about fucking politics on a first date.
I need to know. Jump. There's deal breakers.
Are you crazy? And a lot of men try to make me feel bad about that, so meaning I'm difficult and I'm never going to be in a relationship. I will not be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't have the same political ideology as me. So we're talking.
Right.
And we start talking about Cosby because we black. I guess it had just popped back then.
I think when this happened, right.
And he was like, well, I think he's innocent. It's a witch hunt. And I was like, what? And then I was like, wait. I was like, have you ever been accused of sexual assault? He was like, whoa, no. And then I said,
whoa.
Just asking.
And then I said, have any of your friends ever been accused of sexual assault? Well, first I said rape, and he was like, rape's a strong word. I was like, okay, sexual assault.
Yeah, imagine it happening to you.
Hello? That strong word. I almost punched her out of the chair. So I was like, have any of your friends been accused of sexual assault? He was like, no. And I was like, all right, cool. What if one of your homeboys had been accused of sexually assaulting 2 women? Would you still be friends with him? And he was like, probably not. Okay, cool. Moving on. Obviously, you're fucking just defending Cosby because you don't give a fuck and you haven't thought this through.
Right.
10 minutes later, we're talking about the election, and he was like, well, I support Bernie, and if I can't vote for Bernie, I'm going to just vote for Trump because I don't see the racism in his campaign. Black man in Brooklyn.
What?
Brooklyn, black man.
Right at that moment, the waitress was like, you guys got the roasted Brussels sprouts?
That's amazing. I can't breathe.
Who ordered?
Do you have a red wine? I get that bitch a death stare.
He said he's going to vote for Trump if he can't vote for Bernie.
So
Which
then
means
because he doesn't see racism in the campaign.
So I proceed to say, oh, you hate women.
Yes.
And he was like, what? How did you make that leap? I was like, oh, easy. I have receipts. You just said 20 minutes ago that you don't believe 50 women who've accused a man of rape. And now you said you're not going to vote for a woman. You'd rather vote for a racist fucking misogynist troll who has been accused of rape.
Right. Than a woman.
And he was like, that's crazy. Once again, trying to make me think I was crazy. And I was like, you're not going to make me think I'm crazy. And I was like, cool. This is great. Get the check. You pay for it. Also, don't ever tell another woman that on a date if you want to get some pussy. Those are my parting words.
Okay.
He was like, I'll say whatever I want on a date. I don't give a fuck what you say. I was like, cool. Just know that.
And the waitress was like, so you guys want me to box this up?
Box the Brussels sprouts, bitch.
I'm taking those. He paid, I'm taking them.
Yeah. So that happened. I don't talk to him, obviously. So a month passed. I get a text. You were right. I was like, who is this? He was like, we went on a date last month.
Because she didn't save his number.
Yeah, I didn't save his fucking number. And he was like, we went on a date last month. And since then, I've gone on a date with like 2 or 3 women. And we got into the same argument and they wouldn't let me drop it. The girl last night wouldn't even let me drop it. I was like, no woman with an ounce of intelligence is going to let you drop either one of those topics, let alone both of them on a first fucking date.
Right.
And then he's proceeded to be like, so can we go out? No! Are you gonna rape me?
Yeah.
And then he sends me a picture with sticking up his middle finger. He was like, here's to all the too strong, like just some insult that shit ass black women who
I don't even think you told me that part.
He was like, bitch ass black women who not gonna fucking ever get a man, you single bitter bitches. And I was like, here's the weak ass niggas that don't fucking know how to get some pussy on a date and not know how to shut their fucking mouths.
Dang.
Don't come for me, bitch.
Insane.
Yes. And that happens to me.
That's so crazy because, like, when I would go on dates, maybe this is just a corny nigga thing. But
maybe. Yeah.
Oh, this nigga was corny.
He was?
Yeah.
In a different way.
In a different way.
It's a different.
Oh, like I just like would plan
There's different
out,
levels.
like,
There's a spectrum
time.
of corniness,
like,
Mel.
let's just go have fun. Like, I don't understand.
But here's the thing: is
But
like,
I have to have a conversation.
and here's the thing: is like getting it out on the first date. I'd rather we know right now
Immediately.
because before I waste my time, get invested in you, and then I find out that you're a piece of shit.
Yes.
Like, yeah, the political thing needs to come out immediately. I don't think for me that like politics has come out necessarily on the first date ever, but there are other indicators that have come out that have been deal breakers for me on first dates. Absolutely. I went out with a dude one time who criticized my Tonight Show set on the first date.
Sir.
And I would also like to point out that he was a failed comic.
Well, that's why he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I didn't know this like going in, but then he critiqued and said something like, "You, you can tell you're still trying to find your voice, and you definitely have potential though, and that's a compliment coming from me." And I'm like, okay, at least I know this now because, yeah,
I want to know all the stuff.
But
now.
again, that's one of those things where like I would never
say that.
Like you want it to be a fun night. Even if he didn't like the set, he should have been like, dude, that's awesome that you did the Tonight Show.
Right, but you don't understand, like, Mal, because you're a secure person. Like, so many insecure people exist, and a lot of them happen to be men, and they can't feel good about themselves unless they are in a power position over a woman. So the way to take a woman down, especially a woman that they think is, like, strong, that is the number one. They're like, oh, she's done the Tonight Show?
Yeah.
She's doing something that I tried to do and failed at? She's attractive. Let me take her down.
Right.
So, and that's again.
And Patrice would talk about that a lot on stage.
Right.
How he would he's like, men purposely do that. Well, you like insult you a little bit,
right,
just to take you down. And that's why I loved listening to him because he was always so honest about how y'all niggas think.
Yeah, and I loved his honesty.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with a male comedian not that long ago, and he was talking about like what he does when he goes to the club and like his little like tactic to like hit on women. And he said something about going up to like a really attractive woman and then saying something mean to her to like take her down a notch. And I was like, well, that's called negging. Yeah. And a lot of men don't think we know about this, but we do know about negging. And do you know about negging, Mel?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I talk about. He's like, how do you think I got my girlfriend?
Candice, your hair looks dry.
That's my joke. I talk about it on stage. I got negged by a homeless man.
A homeless man told you your hair looked dry?
Okay, so for the joke, I say my hair looks dry. What really happened was I was downtown with Jamar. And this was like a few years ago, and we were just standing outside after a show. It was during a festival. So we were standing outside, and this homeless man walks by. You know Jamar is ridiculous. So he says to the homeless man, hey, man, she's cute, isn't she? And the homeless man looked me up and down, took a puff of his cigarette, and said, she all right.
Did Jamar die of laughter?
We both did, of course. We crumbled in laughter. I was like, and then I tweeted right outside, I just got negged by a homeless man. And then I was like, I have to.
Wearing?
You deserved it, Candice.
Hello. Would you have makeup on? You better.
So yeah, I turned that into a bit naturally because out of pain comes laughter.
I mean, I'm full of fun.
Right.
So
where was I going?
Explain his tactic. He would.
Oh yeah, so the guy that I was talking to.
From the stage, he would insult.
No. This is at a club, like a nightclub, not a comedy club. I know that's how we train to think a media. No, but just at a club. If he wants to holler at a chick, and he goes, if I see a really cute chick, I'll say something, mean to just take her down a notch. And I'm like, And I said, I'm not going to say his name. And I was like, so-and-so, why would you feel the need to say that? I was like, you don't know how this woman feels about herself. You're assuming because you think she's an attractive woman that she's cocky and that she thinks she's better than people. And I said, you don't know, that woman might think she's unattractive. Have you heard of body dysmorphic disorder? You don't know who abused her, if she was abused by a kid. You don't know how she feels about herself. Maybe she just grew into herself. You don't know, she could feel like shit on the inside. Now you just made her feel even worse. And this is coming from someone who, we get negged all the time. And people think, again, we're attractive women that you think you're better than me, and you get hit on all the time. You can take it. We get rejected all the time as men. So you need to be taken down a notch. And I'm like, no, I already sometimes wake up and don't feel like I'm a cute person. Like, that happens all the time. And I feel shitty when you say something mean to me. That's just being human. Mm-hmm. Just be a person. Don't say something mean to somebody.
And then what did he say?
He was like, I never thought about it that way. And it's like, it is. It comes from not thinking.
You don't think.
And again, why? Just be human. Just be nice to people.
Think before you speak. That's what adults do.
Yeah.
I think the reason why I don't run into these problems is because I was raised by my mom. And I was around like aunts growing up. And so it's
you know how to treat
I have
women.
a different respect for women.
Right.
I don't know, because a lot of motherfuckers were raised by women. I just feel like it's just whether or not you are a good person. Because you are obviously a good person. I know people who are raised by good women and still act like that.
That is, I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I think, comes from sometimes an insecurity of being raised by a strong woman and then feeling somehow that emasculates you as a man.
Oh, that might explain that, dude.
That's weird.
And resenting it.
That's weird.
It is weird, but it's all psychological. But it comes from it. It has to come from somewhere, and it doesn't make sense if you had a really good mother for you to hate women.
Right.
Yeah.
It all comes from insecurities. Everything comes. All the ego, insecurity. Is this? Oh.
Yeah. We'll talk about that off camera. But, secret time.
I actually had read a book and I sent you an excerpt from it.
You did about
I read a
Fred
book.
Sanford, right?
A what from it?
An excerpt. Excerpt.
Excerpt.
Right. There's a P in that word, just so you know.
Oh my God, Mal, you're an asshole like me.
Excerpt. I mean, but who says the P?
Excerpt.
Everybody.
Excerpt.
Who says all the people who say excerpt?
Excerpt.
Niggas that don't say the word don't know.
I was gonna say, really, I don't say the word very often.
I sent you an excerpt from that thing. You know what I'm talking about.
Excerpt.
Excerpt.
Excerpt. I sent you a piece of a book.
Yeah. I sent you words, remember?
I ripped that page out. I sent it to you.
I sent you a block of words, remember?
Oh my God.
So I was reading this book called Black Macho and the Myth of the Superwoman by...
her light Sunday reading.
We're the most militant ones, by the way. So I was reading this. Michelle Wallace is the author. She was an author and also like part of Black activism back like in the 60s. And so I sent Joyelle, and this is, again, it makes us sad because we have to deal with this. And we want to feel love from Black men. But unfortunately, there is a vulnerability that with Black men that doesn't exist. And in the relationship with women, there's a lot of hate. And I'm not saying that it doesn't go. There's this book just talks about relationships between Black and what happened with Black men and Black women. And there in the excerpt that that just takes so much work.
Don't try to make us feel bad about it. We say the word correctly.
Excerpt.
Excerpt?
Excerpt.
Oh, but so you don't say the T at the end.
My stuffy nose.
Oh.
You can't hear me.
Excerpt. So I'm just going to read this. We're going to have to just trim this down a little bit because I'm going to look for this excerpt.
He's gonna trim this whole excerpt.
Yeah.
He's like, let's just excerpt this from the episode.
I don't know if I still have the actual screenshot. So now I'm just going to have to go through my text messages with you, Joyelle.
I hate everyone.
Just hit details on the top right corner.
All right.
Oh, I can do that?
Yeah, that's all the attachments.
All the attachments.
Someone told me that a long time ago and I forgot. Looking at all this is hilarious. All the stuff we've sent when Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy.
Oh, here it is. Okay, I found it. Oh, wait. Where's the? That's not it.
Dude, maybe I have an allergy thing too, because my nose is all sniffly today.
I stay stiffly.
Whenever I'm in this room, I get all like sniffly.
Yeah?
I mean, it does seem like there'd be some mold.
Black
Yeah,
mold.
there's probably asbestos in here.
You can always tell when they paint over dirt.
Oh, I found it.
There was a bunch of like neon lips on the wall when we rented the space out.
Yeah.
It used to be like a beauty salon. So everybody told us to keep it.
I would have kept neon lips, but I'm also a girl. I enjoy being a girl, even though black men are mean.
Leave that in.
Black women are mean too.
I mean, yeah.
Let's be very
It goes
clear.
both ways.
It goes both ways.
And it's also, it's armillary because it feeds off each other. It feeds on each other.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
You should
Candice, did you have an excerpt?
I do have an excerpt from the book Black Macho and the Myth of the Superwoman.
Let's hear it.
And just to set this up, we're talking about when Shirley Chisholm, the first Black woman to want to run for president. Okay.
1978.
Oh, I don't know the date
Okay.
specifically.
Late 70s, early 80s.
Okay, so the excerpt begins. Ever since then, it has really baffled me to hear Black men say that Black women have no time for feminism because being Black comes first. For them, when it came to Shirley Chisholm, being Black no longer came first at all. It turned out that what they really meant all along was that the Black man came before the Black woman. And not only did he come before her, he came before her to her own detriment. The proof is that as soon as Shirley Chisholm announced her intention to run, Black men pulled out their big guns and aimed them at her. They made every attempt to humiliate her, not only as a political being, but also as a sexual being. That Blacks fought against Chisholm was a setback for all Black people, but it was even more of a setback for Black men. The reaction of Black men to Chisholm's campaign, a reaction they made no attempt at all to conceal, marked the point at which the Black movement breathed its last as a viable entity. Black male hostility to Chisholm exploded any illusion that Blacks might actually be able to sustain a notion of themselves apart from America's racist, sexist influence, a notion essential to their autonomy and inner direction. Red Fox's joke, where he made a joke on Late Night that said, that he would rather have sex with Raquel Welch than Shirley Chisholm. That was the joke he said on Late Night. So Red Fox's joke expressed the comparisons Black men were making between Black women and white women. Responsibility, always tiresome, versus the illusion of liberation and freedom. In some sense, every ethnic group of men wishes to be free of its women for similar reasons. However, although Jewish male comedians are famous for making fun of what is essentially the Jewishness of their wives, it would never have occurred to Henny Youngman or Alan King, Jewish comedians, to make that type of joke is basically what it's saying.
The moral of that story. And to piggyback off of that, I was having a conversation with
1972 she was running.
Yeah, 1972. I was having a conversation with somebody I look up to, one of my a big, stand-up guy. And he was asking me, he's a Black man, and he was like, well, what do you think is worse in America, your femininity or your race? And I thought about it. I was like, I would say race first, but I think it's being a female. And he was like, you're wrong.
Wait, this is the same guy from last night?
Your thoughts are wrong, Joyelle.
Yeah, and he was just like, you're wrong. And I was
Your
just like,
opinions are wrong.
I was like, what? I was like, how are you going to tell me I'm wrong? And it was like, once again, this is my experience. Also, women are second-class citizens of the world.
Yes.
We're not. Black is just here. It happens other places, but women are disrespected the world over.
Across the
And when
world.
I'm walking home from the subway in New York at 2 a.m. after a gig, it's not my race that I'm worried about, it's my femininity.
Right.
So that's why it trumps it. However, being black's right underneath there.
Mhm.
And I will stand by the fact that Hillary Clinton lost the election because she's a woman. I'll argue that point with any person.
I
She
think
lost
that as well.
because she's a woman.
Yes.
So it's femininity.
Yes.
I'm not wrong. Never.
I mean, we have a special struggle. We have a special struggle. And I'm glad we actually talked about this today because this is the first time we've talked about this on the podcast. I know having Jackie as the co-host, sometimes she'll come on. She's a black woman, but we've never gone as deep as this. So, I mean, but I think it was time that we needed to discuss what's going on with black women. We do get not only underrepresented, but also disrespected. And
so much. And we also have to do the mental Olympics of like, if somebody does something fucked up to us, is this because I'm black? Is this because I'm a woman? Is this because you're an asshole? Like that, all of that shit's exhausting. It's so, especially in comedy, Jesus Christ, so exhausting.
And you would think me being as light as I am that I wouldn't feel it, but I do feel it. Because people think that they think I can pass. No, I'm saying like people think they look at me and they're like they don't know necessarily what I am, but a lot of people do, and I still haven't gotten to the point where. Because I know people that are like, Candice, you look black. Like, people just say that to me. And I still, because I grew up the way that I grew up, hearing people tell me I didn't look black. But there are groups of people that look at me and they're like, oh, you're clearly black. So
I've never thought you were not black.
I don't think I ever thought of it either.
that's because when I first met you, I was like, I'm black.
I mean,
That's how Candice greets people. She doesn't even say her name.
Yeah, no, I have a T-shirt.
Candice does wear that T-shirt. It says "I'm black" on the front, and then on the back it says "For real though, I'm black."
That's amazing.
But yeah, it's I mean, I don't know what we're supposed to do about it. I think progress is
Keep
being
arguing
made.
with niggas at pizza shop.
I'm telling you, that is
One
really
dude at a time.
That is
Grassroots.
really, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but I now make a point whenever a dude, and I respect you for doing it so much. My girl Amanda Seals also does the same thing. And I learned something from the two of you. If a dude does some fuck shit, tell them. There'd be a point in time when we would not say anything.
Yes.
We
and
would,
that's
because
the
we were
problem.
taught to not
Yeah.
say anything. We're supposed to be submissive. We're not supposed to be argumentative. We're not supposed to be called. We don't want to be called crazy. We don't want to get hit.
Or
There's so many
bitches.
reasons why we don't
Call
say
me
things.
a bitch.
Right now, it's like I don't care. I've
I'll
lived
be
a good
that.
life.
I'm grown. I'm grown, and I have a great time in my life. And yes, I am extremely single, but we figured out that it's because we don't let niggas live. And no,
That's
I'm not gonna let
literally-
you live and just say bullshit.
We literally, Amanda and Joyelle will text one another if we have like a bad date, and we have an acronym for whatever we don't let niggas live. WDLNL. Whenever we have a date and some fuck shit happened and we told the dude about himself,
Yeah.
this is why we're single.
Yeah.
Because you
'Cause I'm
can't,
not.
like, what just happened? Something literally, were we just talking about this? Something happened. I don't remember what it was. We went out to dinner the other night. We were talking about something that had just happened. It's like, and there it is. We don't let these niggas live.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about I told you a story about a comedian that had posted a lie on his Instagram. And I called him out on it. I posted in his comments, you lying, because you didn't do this. And then he deletes my comment and then texts me, yo, why you got to call me out for lying?
What?
Yeah.
Because you're lying.
You're lying.
And the audacity of him to post that, because he knew that I had started following him on Instagram. So he knew I was going to see the post, and he knew that I knew the truth. And he posted it anyway.
What was the post like? I got a standing ovation last night.
Similar to that.
Similar to
Oh,
that.
for real?
Not that, but similar to a performance that he had done that he did not do.
Yeah.
I was there, and he did not do what he said he did in this post. And I'm like, I'm not just going to sit here and let this dude.
No. No. And it's
So did you,
ridiculous.
after you deleted your comment, did you go back in and put it back?
The petty side of me wanted to.
Oh my God.
I always have to suppress the petty
You
side.
keep posting it.
Yeah.
You keep posting it, changing like one word each time. You know you didn't do this. You know you really didn't do this.
Liar.
You liar.
Tagging all the
Shame.
other people that
Shame.
commented.
Yes.
Hey, just a heads up real quick.
Right.
Ah.
Nigga didn't do this shit.
He
Sliding
did.
into the DMs. Hey, just so you know, that
all
post
you
that you like,
people.
Yeah.
dude.
Totally didn't do it. And I was like, oh, Candice, we don't let niggas live. That's the moral of the
And
story.
even on that scale, which is like, I wasn't dating this dude. This was just a regular dude. Just another fellow comic who I was like, we shouldn't have to put up with this bullshit.
No.
It's just bad behavior. Because if he's doing this to impress his Instagram followers, he's lying to impress women.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I can stop this train somehow,
Yes.
which,
Yeah, because next you're going to be pulling your dick out in a hotel room.
yeah.
Wait, what?
Huh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Huh? On that note.
That's a chain of events? God.
The dick always comes out. It's going to come
Keep
out.
y'all dicks in. Unless we ask.
I hear those stories too, and I'm like, I don't understand how that gets to that point.
How it gets the dick out where
Yeah.
a woman didn't ask for it.
I'm just gonna send a picture of my dick right now. I'm like, why?
Never want to see that.
Yeah, unless we request it, don't send dick pics. It's that simple.
I don't send them upon request.
They're
either.
not nice looking. You said upon
Let me
request.
see your dick, Mal.
You're going to get a text from Joyelle. You're not the only thing that was taller than what I expected. On that note, we have to wrap up.
We got
Oh
the
my
light.
God. Oh my God. This has been so fun. Thank you for listening to The Struggle.
What is that
With Candice
voice?
Thompson. I'm Candice Thompson, and you've been listening to The Struggle with Candice Thompson. Did I say my name enough? This was a fun episode, Joyelle. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule while you're here in LA before you have to fly back to New York City.
Uncle,
Thank
New
you for-
Hampshire, but thank you.
Oh, that's right. You're going to New Hampshire. So yes,
Get
thank
it
you for
straight, I'm
listening.
working.
She stayed working. Support Black women in comedy. Also, subscribe to this podcast. If you listen and like it, subscribe. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Stitcher, SoundCloud. Subscribe. Also, tell your friends about it. If you enjoyed this, tell your friends. God damn it, let them laugh.
If you did not enjoy it, just don't tell anybody.
Just don't tell anybody.
Keep it to yourself.
You don't need to talk about that. No need to post that on Instagram because then I'll call you out and I'll say you're lying in a comment because I'm not going to let you niggas live. So you can follow me at Jokes by Candice on Instagram and Twitter and CandiceThompsonComedy.com. Mal, where's everybody going to find you?
Malhall.com, Brea Improv this weekend with Angela Johnson, but the shows are all sold out, so you're not going to be able to get in. But what you can do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mal Hall TV, everybody.
It's as easy as one click. Joyelle.
At Joyelle Nicole.
There we go. That's it, guys. Till next time.
The struggle.
Bye.